That's why my brain doesn't work for this stuff. The organizational concept is very hard for my brain to wrap around.
Yeah.
Which is why I like the body, because it's so organized, and it's like I can study that organization and base my life off of that organization. It's kind of how I do it, because we're like you saw, it's just difficult for me just to set this up. It's painstaking for me to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're here now.
So
we can start by introducing ourselves and saying basically what we're all about and what we're building.
Sam, you wanna go first?
Sure. So I'm Coach Sam Glenn, and I'm a personal trainer and a health coach. I'm a laser technician. I sell lasers. And so talk about biochemistry, biophysics, and mind, spirit, body. So
How that all aligns. All that
Yeah.
good stuff.
I like your tattoo. Yeah.
yep, got the tattoo of the 7 chakras. That did that a while ago when I was in college. And then I also got this tattoo where it's the 2 wolves, a yin yang, one eats the brain, one eats the heart.
Okay.
Yeah. And so it's like balancing, some people let their emotions take control in certain situations, like you don't want to make rash decisions when you're angry or sad or anything like that.
Sure.
And then there are other times where it's like people don't even let their emotions come out at all, and they damp them down, and they push them down, and that really doesn't help you in the long run. You really get more hurt that way.
Definitely.
Yeah, that gives a good background on how you think, bro.
Exactly. So it's a balance, because you can't let your life be ruled by one or the other.
Right.
Harmony.
Yeah, and the same deal. It's like there are a lot of people who think, oh, I can get so far with IQ, but the thing is, EQ is arguably just as important, and that's one thing that's slept on by a lot of people, because people can be way more successful than people realize just from straight up EQ, emotional intelligence, than raw.
So we'll talk about that.
Yeah,
we'll
we'll get into that. Yeah.
That's good stuff. My name is Denzel. I got a college football background, professional football as well. There's a whole story behind that, and where I focus on nutrition and how that leads into people showing up better, and how that bridges into essentially, me being able to help brands show up better. So I'm a creative consultant. I help my man Cameron C-Tech right here, get his visual expression together. So if you think about your favorite brand, you think about Adidas and how Adidas always shows up. I'm the type of person that's gonna be like, oh, Adidas, every time we have these sweatpants, you got 3 stripes running down the leg, and that's how people recognize you. That's how you become front of mind, and that's how you as a business earn more and more clientele and more money. And, that's what I do, creative consulting. But today I'm here today to basically close the gap on what nutrition is all about, and my philosophy, and how it links with these two right here, and whatever we can do to come to somewhat of an understanding, I'm here for.
Yeah.
I love it.
That's good.
I mean, definitely Denzel helped me out tremendous with building my company, helping me trying to figure my stuff out, because organizing is very difficult for me. My background is that I'm a healer, to put it simply. There's probably not a better word to describe it. I've studied neuroscience, massage therapy, shamanism, Reiki. I've studied, personal development when when I was under depression, when I was injured personally, how to truly go from healing to heal oneself without support, realistically, was really what I went through when I was a kid, and it was a really rough time. And developing that concept, because I went going to doctors and PTs and chiros and orthos and not getting solutions. You're expecting that these experts in the field of healing people are going to heal you, and they don't. And you're
So
stuck.
what are you gonna do?
You gotta do something.
Yeah, you gotta heal yourself at
You
that
gotta
point.
figure it out, and then you take the tidbits of information you get from each of them. Let's try applying this, but tweak it this way. Let's take this thing and maybe do it that way.
Yeah.
So and the 2 strongest influences were really chiropractors and PTs, physical therapy. That is, the concept of a joint is just, or basically the body, not just a joint. The body can get so far in one direction that it needs to kind of go the opposite direction.
Mm-hmm.
And I think about it I mean, a boat that's going up through the waves. Imagine if the boat like didn't go with the wave. Like there's so much conflict there that's like it's
Yeah.
fighting it.
Dude, like there was a time where I actually rolled my knee out of place,
Wow.
and it was while I was at a rave, and so I was dancing really hard. I was doing like the belly bounce, like like one of these.
Oh yeah.
You know, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And I was going too hard, and then my shit literally rolled out of place, and I was like, and I was like, oh my god, and then I just like forced it, like rolled it back into place.
Man.
Yeah.
Like in front of 100 people around.
Well,
you, like, in a
people
rave?
didn't realize because everyone's in their own little world.
fair,
You know what I
fair.
mean? We're at a rave, everyone's dancing hard.
Did you fall?
And so I was in the front, and there was like the banister that like stops you from getting on stage.
Mhm.
And so I like held on to that so I didn't fall, but I had to like literally, it felt weirder rolling it back into
Oh.
place than it did rolling out of place.
What were you saying in regards to that?
Is that what caused that?
Yeah, what in regards to that? Like,
Oh, I mean, in regards to that, I mean,
Yeah.
the body does that. Anything happens, like the yin and yang. The whole point of your tattoo. If
Yeah.
you push too far this way, you have the universe will force you the other way, or like
Exactly.
you basically like it's continuity.
by giving you signals of destruction and chaos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Entropy
Yeah.
is the biggest one. Like things that you built will fall
Right.
Yeah.
because you're not maintaining them.
Right.
And at the time, I was so full of adrenaline and like other stuff, that will remain unsaid.
Endocrine system.
Yeah. And essentially, I didn't really feel it that much because I was so geeked.
Mm-hmm.
But next day I wake up, all the adrenaline wears off, all the
Yeah.
other stuff wears off too, and I couldn't walk. I was in pain.
How long did it take to walk?
Like a couple days. It was like it took a full week for me to like be able to kind of get back to close to normal.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it was like a couple of days where I was like just kind of laying in bed.
Tough day. Tough experience.
Yeah, that was one of the
The
craziest.
question is, what music was playing when that happened?
It was like really intense, like EDM. It
Oh,
was
just-
like dancey, like electro,
Mhm.
like house, like
Okay.
like intense pop, like
And who?
dubstep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Skrillex type stuff. Yeah.
Went
Okay.
way
Okay.
too far.
Yeah, with
Yeah,
like
you
all
went-
the lasers
Yeah,
and stuff.
you went
yeah.
too far.
I
Your
did.
knee was
I
like, I'm
went-
going the other way. Like,
Yeah.
It's something else. It's really something to think about. I know it's
Yeah.
a funny story, but like it teaches you a lot. And that's
Exactly.
That's what Cam has teach me throughout my therapy with him, because I came out of a football career, not just football, but a full lifelong sports career. I had multiple shoulder surgeries in college and tore my Achilles and was headed to the NFL. I was like, whoa, hold up. There's a lot that I can do to stop this from happening. Going from like learning that, hey, I can go to yoga
Mhm.
after lift, and it'll actually reset me. I can feel like some type of stress relief. I can eat better.
Mhm.
Seeing What the Health in 2016,
Mm.
and then like just breathing better. We're gonna talk about all of
Yeah.
that today. Just to kind of start to like
Totally,
round
yeah.
what we're really here for.
Yeah, I mean,
you know?
3 big loops.
Yeah.
Eating, breathing, and moving.
Mhm.
What makes life life? I mean, single cell organisms do that, and so do you.
Mhm.
You need to convert energy into energy to use it. You need to respirate to help you function with that, and then you also need to move to go get the food.
Right.
Mhm.
And so, Sam and I have had quite a heated debate recently about the
Oh,
most
yeah.
important macromolecule
Yep.
for humans.
For humans, and in general, or depending on like different situations, like what you argue would be better arguments for an average person, but for like a bodybuilder, I always say, so
That's
my
true.
argument is that protein is the most important macromolecule. And I know that, you might think fiber, or you might think, complex carbs, or some like healthy fats, like they're all important in their own ways. And I'm not going to say that they're not important, but I'm going to say if you could only choose one and you could only receive nutrients from one source of a macromolecule, I would go with protein.
Where do you live? What's the environment?
Where do you live?
Yeah.
I mean, And
Because let's say you live in
For-
Where are you going with this?
for me, I mean, I gotta do. I live at the gym essentially, and so I have to. I need
What's
to,
okay? So you're in an air-conditioned environment
Yeah.
with moderate climate,
Yeah, moderate climate, right?
exerting lots of energy.
Well, sometimes I'm at the park and I'm doing ultimate frisbee, so
so again, moderate climate, exerting lots
well,
of
that
energy.
it can be hot sometimes, and it is a lot of energy, but it's a different kind of energy because it's like hit cardio
Mhm.
will take it out of you differently than working out. Like
Define working out, because I think HIIT cardio is a workout.
the working out, like hypertrophy working out or a strength training working out.
Can you define?
Because if you're doing a circuit train,
Mhm.
that's more hit cardio.
And we're talking
Yeah.
about nutrition and how this is gonna like play into that, right?
like
Yeah.
why is protein
So-
the best for?
Right.
Because you're
So-
saying protein is the best for only people that work out. It sounds like what I'm hearing.
I'm saying
But
if you work
or
out,
hypertrophy?
it's even more important. You know what I mean? If you don't work out and you're just kind of like, you just chill out and you don't really work out ever, then the argument that, what do you think is the most important? You said
Fats.
Fats.
I think fats are more important.
So you would say a keto diet would be doable for.
I mean, no. I'm saying fat only would be better than having only protein.
Okay.
So
So do you agree with keto diets in general then?
I to agree with them is tough. It's dependent upon the situation. The keto
Yeah.
diet is basically designed to have rapid weight loss very quickly,
Uh-huh.
but it puts your health in danger because your
Yeah.
your adrenals are excited.
Mm.
You're in high cortisol.
Yeah.
Your brain is under stress. It's like, oh my god, we're freaking out. So you start
Yeah.
burning your literal fat cells to make energy, which
See-
is therefore why fat, in my opinion, is most important because you can take it and store it more efficiently.
Okay. Well, to me, in my idea, keto dieting is kind of like CrossFit. You know what I mean?
Oh, I agree. I think they're both stupid ways with bad form to get a goal accomplished.
But they do get the goal accomplished
That's
in the end.
fair, yeah.
You know what I mean? But they're not.
There's hell to go through.
But there are better ways to
Yeah.
do it.
Exactly.
And so,
They work, but there are better ways. Like I agree with what you're saying. There are
Yeah.
better ways. So in terms of like the fats, the reason why I believe the fats are more important is because, like, across all environments on Earth, because remember, humans are Earth spawn. That's how I view this.
Mhm.
Like we, all these theories talk about whether it's evolution, whether it was the Anunnaki, the aliens that came and injected our DNA with monkey DNA and like crossbred us. Like we're from Earth. We're not even if our DNA, but like we are originally
yeah.
genetically are built for Earth, for the gravity here, the sun here,
Yeah.
the plants here. Earth is our home, and so
The time.
it was a time.
Yeah, everything.
So everything like we're used to the days, the cycles, the moon, all this stuff
Yeah.
here, and as a human, the fat that you consume is 225% more energy per gram than protein. So if you eat 1 gram
Well,
of
that's
protein,
because it's
No,
9
let
calories versus
Let him
4.
finish. Let him finish.
that's exactly that's the
Let him
point.
finish.
Let's say this is 1 gram, and this is 1 gram of protein versus 1 gram of fat.
Mhm.
This, if it's fat, it has more than 200% more energy. Has 9 grams, or sorry, 9 kilojoules of energy.
9 calories.
Kilocalories.
Yeah.
Versus 4 kilocalories.
kilocalories.
So 4,000 versus 9,000.
Yeah.
And as far as like what's most important, what's your brain made out of? What controls you? The brain. And the brain determines what's happening. The gut and the brain are linked. Like when
Mhm.
you're first, born, not necessarily born, but like when you're first conceived, like when you're just like a clump of cells,
Mhm.
like your brain and your gut are the same thing.
Yeah.
Because like
Mhm.
there's only 2 cells, or 3 cells, or 4 cells, or
Yeah, when you're like
8
a
cells.
zygote.
Like you need to
Yeah.
eat, breathe, and move.
Yeah.
Like those are your 3 main things. So when you need that, you need fats.
Okay.
However, you do need proteins to move stuff to do that. Because proteins are the motility. If you don't have proteins, you can't move.
Yeah. Proteins are a lot more than just amino acids. Like,
Oh yeah.
proteins are
Well, they-
receptors on cells. Proteins are like the little things that package like hormones and like
enzymes. Yeah.
yeah,
They do everything.
they're
yeah,
yeah, exactly.
I mean, proteins are machines.
Yeah,
Don't get me wrong. Proteins are
it's just
incredible.
like we need this to be done. Like proteins, they replicate DNA. They replicate, like it's everything.
But let's say you're stranded on an island and you basically only get one. Like we could do a test on this. You could put 3 people on a stranger island and see how they fare, and you have to try to get like the most same DNA type or origin of country. Try to get them in the same environment with only eating one macromolecule. I think the one with the fat lives the longest.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily know if that means that they like have the best quality of life or they do this, but my theory, like they would, because there's just so much more energy per gram, they would live longer. That's my debate. And so therefore, because
that's
you would live
arguable.
Longer,
it depends if
we would have to test it.
Yeah, and it would also depend on the availability of the food sources. So like, if
right, and I think this is where I want to interject.
Yeah.
And say that I've honestly sat here and been staring into space at times because I'm like, wow, I really don't understand the scientific jargon behind it. But as far as my understanding goes, seriously, it's like, because I'm plant-based. I'm a plant-based, whatever you want to call it, eater. And it personally, it works for me. Like I eat in season fruit. I shop at the farmers market and grow my food, and it's gotten down to the point in the whole conversation of nutrition. It's just eat real food and eat food that you can see that's growing. Because beyond that, I can't tell what's truly being given to me and what I'm receiving in terms of like numbers. What I can tell is my energy. What I can tell is my thoughts and the harmony of my gut.
Definitely.
Because when I changed my diet, started eating better foods, that gut-brain connection, I was like, oh. No, you ever been like, oh, bro, what did I eat? Like, dog, talk to me, like, what's wrong? Like,
if you drink too much alcohol, that's how I'll be. Yeah,
anything.
If I hungover and
too much anything.
Too much anything.
Yeah, sugar for sure, dude.
Like if I eat too much watermelon, like seriously, I'm like,
yeah.
oh, bro.
Watermelon is very sugary.
Yeah. But but of course, there's levels to how bad you can do your stomach. But nutrition, like quality, is everything. And then, to me, the body's so intelligent, it'll do what it needs to do to keep you alive.
Absolutely.
Then the next
that
day,
is true.
The next day, or at least within 7 days, if you're not fasting, get you some food of high quality.
Figure it out,
And that's where I'm at, because it's a conversation to be had about how nutritional food is that we're buying at the grocery store. That's for another podcast, because it's that nuanced of a conversation.
It is very nuanced. There's a lot of money in it too.
Like you're talking about like open range shit and
all
like,
types of stuff, man.
Yeah.
Organic, non-organic, GMOs. Like they mess with the
that's
seeds.
That's a whole nother conversation.
That's a long path. That'd be a whole podcast by itself.
Yeah. And I think that eating healthy food is just as the most important thing. I mean, go back to the Earth spawn idea. It's less important what matters most, but if you were stranded on an island, would you rather eat a piece of grass for some carbohydrates? Would you rather have a piece of raw meat, or would you rather have raw fat? Let's say you didn't have a fire, because humans live before fires. What do you eat? You eat raw meat. Do you eat raw grass? Or do you eat
they were eating berries and
blubber?
Shit, but then they figured out how to make fires once they started effectively killing.
Yep. And so what is your theory then, because we got proteins after we started cooking more meat, that accelerated our brain development? Because that's a theory that fires accelerated our brain development.
Yeah, fire. And do you know about stoned ape theory?
Talk to me about it.
Okay, this is one of the most interesting theories I've ever heard. But essentially, it was during the hunter-gatherer era.
Okay.
And the Homo erectus, that was right before Homo sapiens, they started eating magic mushrooms. And there was this part in history where our frontal lobes grew exponentially faster than how our previous rate was going. And so there was just this point in history where our brains just grew way faster than normal. And because of that, it's the theory is that happened from the magic mushrooms. Because the way that I can back this up biochemistry wise is I'm about to get
I'm with you. I know where you're
I'm
going.
not.
I know where
Okay,
you're going.
Phosphate groups.
You
Right?
gotta work on me.
All right, phosphate groups. Right. So ATP, adenosine
I
triphosphate,
want to simplify.
creates energy by
I think
breaking
you
off
want
the phosphate.
Wait,
We
wait,
can simplify it.
I wanna
Right.
simplify it.
Oh wait,
You're
hold
gonna
on.
go
Right.
too deep. I
I'm
wanna
so close.
simplify it.
Right. Okay. So ATP
Two sentences.
to ADP
Dude,
is one phosphate group.
That's not
Yes.
doing it for me.
All right, but psilocybin turns into DMT when you take off one phosphate group.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you take off the phosphate group from psilocybin,
But what happened because of that?
but DMT is
I'll
the
get there.
consciousness molecule. DMT is the God
I'm
molecule.
waiting on him, bro. I won't
All right, go ahead.
Okay.
All right.
So, just to put it more simply, when you have magic mushrooms,
All right.
it allows your brain to make more synaptic connections than it
Okay.
did previously.
It increases neuroplasticity.
Well, I think I don't like the terminology because I think that when they use the word plasticity, they basically like it can do things like that. It's like, you play a video game, like you ever like one of those games like Mario, you just start over here and you like start walking that way, and like you can basically at some point it ends. If you have a magic mushroom, you now extend the game. You can do more things, and so you basically the brain, the nerve has so many connections to it, so many dendrites that can send out, and like this is like no, like I'm gonna make more. I'm gonna make a new path. I'm gonna start sending this out to somewhere, and hopefully someone hears it.
All right.
And once someone hears it, they're like, oh, I'll be plastic, and I'll just like start. I'm gonna put up some proteins, and they're gonna start listening for this thing that you just sent to me. And maybe if I hear it again, it'll excite
Long-term
me, and I'll do a thing.
potentiation. That's
Yeah.
what it's called, LTP.
And so when you have magic mushrooms, you eat them a bunch of times, you literally just start building more roads so that you have more literal brain matter. Is that
Yeah.
theory? Is what it sounds like.
Yeah. Well, we
So
both
that
have the neuroscience background, so
Of
that's
course we do, yeah.
So
And
Well,
that's
like-
back on the point if you're stuck on an island and you got grass.
You need fats, because fats are how you build that. But without proteins, you can't put the fats where you want them to go.
So I think it's like I said, just balance.
It is a
in
balance.
nature. But still,
Yeah. I mean, I'm a
You'll
one
know.
third, one third, one
you
third.
know. Mm-hmm.
Like for macros, I do a third fats, a third protein, and a third carbs.
Mm-hmm.
And my carbs are at least 50% fiber. Because
you gotta do the majority fiber for your carbs. You do not want simple sugars.
simple sugars are just a waste.
Yeah.
They spike your glucose. They piss off your cells.
Yeah.
They get mad. They're like
They fuck your insulin.
because the one
like
yeah they
if
mess
you-
up the whole thing.
yeah, diabetes is rampant in America.
It's because it's like 80% carbs and like 10% fats and proteins.
They finally recently fixed it where they changed like the definition of healthy foods have to be nutritious, and all of the cereal companies like Kellogg's, they were all pissed because they all claim healthy cereals, but they're not. They're just simple sugars.
Businessman.
Ex-
Another podcast.
exactly.
Yeah.
And that is another podcast.
Business.
Well, so then the next thing
That's true.
is breathing.
Breathing.
So you have to eat, you have to breathe.
Yes.
And the way that I like to breathe is that because of the body and like we have this brain, it's doing crazy stuff, you need to regulate it. Like we talked about, there's a balance here. I'm a harmony guy, I'm a balance.
Mhm.
If the joint goes too far out this way, you gotta put it back that way, like your knee.
Boom.
So when it comes to breathing, you have to have as much energy going as you're going.
Yeah.
It's that simple. And the thing is that what happens is that most people do a lot more. If you think about it, in the position of posture, you can't with just moving this, gives you that much more space. So like when you have a positional structure, like where your joints are out this way, you don't get this much breathing, and then you have this imbalance of air going in, and so the chest will start to cave in, the ribs will start to get closer together, and you will build up this very victim mentality, which I think is very common in our culture.
Mm-hmm.
Is this victim mentality, I believe, is a postural deformity breathing experiment.
It rattles into energetic blockages.
Goes into energetic blockages.
I can literally attest to that and how creatively I'm more open to flowing when I'm at my standing desk or after I've done yoga, for example, and I can sit for a little bit. But as you start to like condense ideas down in your body, you gotta realize it starts to also condense because you're getting so deep into it.
Mm.
And that's where, again, You
gotta
know, open
break
it up, and then
Yes.
you follow what Cam's doing on the Organic Mechanic 22. We'll be talking about all of that, you know, about how we go backwards. How we're always going forward in the name of propulsion. How we go backwards.
Yep.
How breath is like that tool to help you like come back to the center. Like everybody take a deep breath. And it's like, oh wow, it's 3 o'clock something, and everything is all good. And breath does that, you know. What's your
Yeah. So when I was younger, I did a lot of musicals from the 6th grade to the 12th grade. And the thing about that is we would have microphones and stuff, but you still need to project. And so I had to learn how to control my breath.
Ooh.
Because the thing is, you sing from up here, but if you want to be actually powerful, you got to sing from your diaphragm. And so a very important thing that I learned in order to control my breath was like, they said, try singing while laying on your back. And I was like, it changed everything.
You push the air all the way down, and your back starts. You start to understand you got more breath.
So much space.
And once you start using your diaphragm, you're like, holy shit, I have so much more breath that I can use. And you can sing like higher, farther, louder, like
Just
more
force.
controlled. Yeah,
Interesting.
everything. And so that
That's
really
cool
helped
you
me.
taught that at such a young age too. I feel like if you don't sing or like do it like a woodwind, like you would never learn that. Like if you
Exactly.
that's incredible. Because I didn't learn that till 7th grade when they were like breathe from your belly,
Yep.
Yeah.
and it took me until I was 19 and I was already a massage therapist. I was in Greece. This is a crazy story. So we were in Greece for a month doing volunteer
You were in Greece.
for a month. Yeah, a little tiny country.
That is so cool.
Yeah, a little tiny island right off the coast of Turkey, 3 kilometers from Turkey, called Lesbos.
I know about Lesbos.
Yeah, we were on Lesbos,
That's so awesome.
and we were there. Rose and I were there for a month, and we were volunteering for this camp for this refugees. That most of them were coming from Afghanistan.
Okay.
This was summer of 2019, I
Mhm.
believe. Yeah, 2019, and we were there for a few weeks, and then we made some friends, and then we went to like this like it was like our last weekend. They're like, okay, come out, like meet some people. Like I hadn't met them before. Like there was people that were also there, and there happened this woman that was like a posture coach. Like her job was to teach actors and actresses and like super wealthy people like how to like hold their face a different way.
Yep.
And like ballerinas like how to like do this when you're doing your show or whatever they're doing. And she taught me. Cause I told her what I did, and she was like, I was like, what you do is, she was like in her 50s. She was super cool, like she's a really cool lady. And she was like, I'll teach you one thing, and you're gonna practice it. She taught me, well, she instructed me to try to open my rib cage that way.
That's it, yo.
When you breathe.
That's
So
it.
so there's, cause I only knew belly breath and like shoulders. So like
That's it.
there's, and there's.
It's like I want to
Go
interrupt
for it. Go for it.
because that's where my therapy with you went to another level.
Mhm.
Because in order to really tap into what we're doing here at what is it, Holistic Body Shop,
Holistic Body Shop.
in order to really tap in, you have to have these 3 pillars together. You can't do one without the other. And the
So
breath
important.
is what's tied it together for me, and has allowed my body to realize that wait, we're not hurt anymore, Denzel. We're healthy. You can move your shoulder forward. Move it. Yes. Now breathe into it. Okay. You breathe a couple times into it. You get it now. It's healthy. Now you have more shoulder range, and that's a part of like what I've been going through with everything, like my neck, my jawline, like the body. You know, it's amazing realizing that through some therapy that it's just as simple as self-awareness. And like Camo like segue this into like, you know, whatever he does and how we're organizing it, because you know we're at a good time in the world where a lot of people are sick, a lot of people are tired.
Yeah.
A lot of people are tired of being sick and tired.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm tired of being sick and tired.
I mean,
yeah.
You know,
I mean,
and that's what this conversation is truly all about. It's like, what is the solutions?
Eat, breathe, and move.
Mm-hmm.
Simple as that.
Yep.
Eat your fruits and your vegetables. Eat healthy foods. And then also breathe, because like he was saying, this is a really good thing he was mentioning. Is like his arm. He thought his arm was hurt. He got surgery. Limited motion. Right.
Right.
He couldn't move so far.
So I've had 2 I've had labrum tears on both the shoulders. I've had 2 shoulder surgeries on this one, and a full thickness labrum surgery on the left one, just the line.
And that's like a lot of that's a ligament, right?
Yeah, that's the cartilage. Cartilage between the ball and socket of your shoulder, which is already wide open. And loosey goosey.
So you got this ball and socket, so it basically was unstabilized, and so you're thinking like every time you move it, it's gonna hurt. So your brain instinctively says, if I do that, it's gonna hurt, and so you're generally gonna like be scared. And when your brain is scared, you don't take deep breaths because you're in fight or flight mode. Cortisol is released. Cortisol does not really allow for proper breathing mechanisms. So like if you're, let's say fight or flight, you're running from a lion, for example, like a lion's chasing you, or someone's trying to kill you, whatever, some scary movie, you're freaking out, and so like you're gonna be breathing heavily. Oh my God, they're gonna kill me! Like you're freaking out. And then if you just took a deep breath in that moment, you would be able to think straighter. Because it like when you are able to take a deep breath, your brain assumes that you are safe.
And correct me if I'm wrong, it's almost as if all of that protection molecules and stuff that's being pumped into the blood, we can channel that.
Totally.
Into
that's the self-awareness. His brother Teddy, actually, I was talking about what I do. He used the word blood bending. That you can basically manipulate the blood. It's not manipulating the blood. It's having the consciousness to move things through the blood. Yeah, the blood is a river. Like you want to send a letter, okay, put it in the blood, and it's gonna go to the thing. It's gonna fix it. Like for your shoulder, we had shoulder issues. We had torn labrum, or whatever you had going on.
Move some stem cells in there.
You built that shoulder when you were a baby. You built that, and then you grew into that. So you have blueprints in your genetic code that will build that shoulder back. So if you as a conscious human jump into that overdrive and you have self-awareness through breathing to start saying, hey, I need you guys to send builders and architects to go build that shoulder again. And then you need someone like me to sit there and like put it in the right spot. Because remember, the blueprints are there for a specific 3-dimensional structure that it has to be in. And if you got surgery, they screwed it in and they locked it into place to give you some sense of stability so you can go play football again. So you can go take a hit and it wouldn't dislocate. They screwed it in, or they glued it, however they did it, they secured it. And so now that it's secured here, if you move it this way, you can't. You're limited because they screwed it in. So what we do is what we do here at the Holistic Body Shop is we take your things, we put them in the right spot, and then we teach you breathe, and you need to fix this problem because I can't fix the problem for you. You have blueprints. I can tell you that it's in the wrong spot. I can tell you what to activate, and just having conversations make, okay, you need fibroblasts, you need osteoblasts, you need these literal cell types, and just you knowing what that cell is, you can build a consciousness to then go and do that.
Yep.
Because you're
Because awareness is power. Awareness leads to the mind-muscle connection.
Yep.
Right.
And breathing is how you get there.
And
then like segue into like your concept of the breath.
Yeah.
And what
that's
breath you
cool
exist
stuff.
on, because this is perfect for bringing
So-
titles all together.
yeah,
I'm
so
gonna
what
take
I
it
was
back to
saying is breath is the connection of the body and the soul. And so as I've learned more science, I've actually become more spiritual, learning more about quantum entanglement, yes, and all that. I won't get into that for now, but
breathing.
Yes. For now, we're going to talk about the soul. So your DNA is, in my mind, how your DNA is expressed is your soul. You can't control really your DNA, and your DNA,
stagnant, right?
yeah, it's going to automatically, innately cause you to have cell replication, and you will, like when you get cut, when you fall off your bike, and you get road rash. I'm not telling my body to heal, but I am.
It just does it.
But it just does it. You know what I mean? Like it just knows to heal, and that is the soul. And so, in order for you to heal, you need nutrients. You need oxygen. Breathing food. Boom. And
you need food and you need breathing.
Yeah, back to what we were talking about. And so,
and with awareness, you can break or make cycles for the better or worse.
yes,
Absolutely.
I mean, dude.
and so
You don't get no better than understanding that.
exactly. And so, aerobic respiration or cellular respiration is like the yin to photosynthesis, which is the yang. And so they work together and like they do the same thing, just opposites.
They just move electrons, and they compress things or they separate them.
And
Isn't that nuts? They
yeah.
just make it. They just shove phosphates onto ADP and make ATP.
That's awesome.
They're
They're
either
little motors.
putting it together or breaking it apart. And
Well, and the thing is, like, if you the fact that you can acknowledge it and be aware of it, if you get into a meditative state, if you go into, let's say, magic mushrooms, you can literally build new neural connections that your consciousness can then do that. I think that's what the theory was talking about. It's like they you know, take a mushroom, go
to
meditate.
use your awareness to build the neural networks that you intend in order to grow as a species. And so that is where that awareness comes from, the breath, and the combination of our breath and the awareness is what will help us be able to heal anything.
Literally anything.
That's what I've been trying to get through to everyone. So like I'm working with Dr. Day, the chiropractor, and so he's
shout out Dr. Day.
Shout out Dr. Day, #1 chiropractor in Savannah, multiple years in a row, president of the Georgia Chiropractic Association, like casually.
He's up there.
He's up there. He's known, and so he was telling me that this woman was going to the hospital. And they were going to do chemo. She had really bad cancer. She had stage 4. She was going to die. And,
that's what medicine will tell you.
Yeah. And the hospitals were like, we tried everything we could. We did chemo. We tried our best. We can't help you. We can't fix you. Sorry. Just go home and die.
Yeah.
It's literally just like go home and die.
2 weeks.
Yeah. And then, so she goes. She keeps looking for more information. And she essentially... I don't remember which chiropractor she met. It might have been Dr. Day, it might have been someone else. But they told her that you just need to fix your nutrition. And she fixes her nutrition, and she cures her cancer.
Dude, listen, if my nutrition was good, I'd be in the NFL right now.
Exactly.
I was going to architecture school and eating food out the vending machine and playing D1 ball.
That's
fueling
wild.
his body. How?
Dude. Eating fucking Lay's chips and Cheetos.
Pop-Tarts. It was Pop-Tarts.
Pop-Tarts.
The Pop-Tarts, the brown sugar cinnamon Pop-Tarts, and the Lorna Doodles, bro. The Lorna Doodles?
Yeah, dude, they're good, dude.
Get you through a practice. That too right there.
Oh my god.
That'll get you through like
That's
the fourth.
Bro, you're
That's
going
a
to practice
shame.
with like donuts and shit.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I get to the
Cafeteria.
cafe, but like I got a lot of energy to burn. I gotta be eating all the time because again,
Dude,
Because
quality.
you're moving.
Yeah.
A lot of moving right there.
Yeah.
Moving, thinking. Like what?
How
type
tall
of-
are you?
I'm 6'3". Like probably.
Oh, okay. I was about to say, because my brother, he's 6'5", and so, and he does crew, and so he's a D1 athlete also, and so he burns 4,000 calories a day casually.
You gotta talk about how the mind burns energy.
Yeah. You know, chess players, they can burn fuck tons of calories.
I know
in
when
one
I'm
chess
designing,
match.
bro.
That's insane.
When I'm literally designing,
Yeah.
I'm literally like it's a workout.
Yeah.
It is a workout, and I feel it when I'm done. I'm like,
Facts.
oh my god, I'm dehydrated. Like
Yeah.
I'm mentally like I feel the juice out of my brain. I'm like,
Yeah.
Today is done. I have to read or like do something monotonous like
Bro,
gardening.
I feel that all the time at this job, doing what
Yeah.
I do. It's so energy expensive to like calculate all the body parts and figure it out.
Oh, yeah.
Like I'm just drained, dude. And it's just
I
brain
bet.
power. Like it's just
Yeah.
like I'm trying to figure out like how is that linked to
That's
this,
good
linked
stuff.
to that, linked to
Yeah.
that.
Dude, that will change the way you think.
It will, man.
Well, like, because when he told me that, I was like, I started connecting all these dots. I was like, you know how many people will be like, dang, I got some shit fucked up about myself. And they go to the doctor, because that's where you go.
Live my life.
And yeah, and then they're like, yo, you need to take this pill, or we need to cut you open and fuck with you.
Yeah.
And it's like, is there not any other possible way to not have to take this damn pill?
Holistic body
Yeah.
shop enters.
Holistic ways, exactly.
Yeah.
Fix your nutrition.
Yep.
Yeah, I think a good landing,
Move.
I think a good landing point is realizing that the body is a super intelligent device that is built to help you live. As long as you give it what it needs to live.
Yeah. 3 things: food, water, air,
Movement.
and move. Well, yeah. I guess nutrition, breathing,
Nutrition, breathing, movement.
and then
Yeah.
move. Yeah. It's crazy. Well, and
that's the basis.
well, and like, so to your point about that, like my friend, my mom's best friend, like they've known each other forever. She had stage 4 pancreatic cancer, which is like 99.8% death rate.
Mm-hmm.
She changed her nutrition to just bone broth, and like
Whoa.
vegetable broth and bone broth, and this woman is alive and well and healthy. Remember, pancreas, what's it do?
That's
It
what I'm
produces
saying.
bile. It produces insulin. So that's the issue with diabetes, is you get like this overuse of the pancreas. So it's like, I'm just failing, and then the thing with that cancer is so underappreciated is that the more you use something, the more you have to build it. Just like you talk about, you want macro tears in your muscles, you have to build a lot of muscle. So you need a lot of protein because you're actively built by breaking lots of
causing
things,
excessive damage,
and you have to rebuild that.
Yeah.
So the more damage you do, the more things you have to rebuild.
Mm-hmm.
And cancer is just a statistics number. Is at what point does your cell cycle just stop? Stopping. It's just gonna keep going. Yeah. At what point do you just continue to replicate uncontrollably, and then that's cancer?
And you just really don't want it to get in the bloodstream, because once it's in the bloodstream, you're.
But
fucking-
you talk about the soul and breathing. I think, a potential theory that I have, it's not all cancers, it's some cancers. I think that some cancers actually have, let's call it a mind of their own.
Yeah.
Where they're like sick and tired of their human, their human avatar controlling this body suit, this super intelligent device, and they're like, hey, the leader is doing it wrong. It's like a revolt. Like, they're doing it wrong. They're allocating energy in the wrong location. So I'm gonna build up my own thing. I'm gonna go against them.
It is a malignant cell.
And it's attack. It's stealing your energy. It's attacking you.
So then, what about autoimmune disorders? Like, I have
that's
Crohn's
emotional
disease.
It's like a cousin.
I think that's
See, that's what I was thinking too. Because the thing is, when I had a colonoscopy in college, that was one of the worst times in my life. I hated myself. I hated my health. I think back to then, and I'm like, all of my own self-hatred caused my body to literally attack itself and destroy itself.
It's the mental game. It's powerful.
And because of, I had other health issues going on, and I hated on myself because of those health issues. But now I have scars and ulcers in my intestines.
You can heal those.
Exactly. And so I was talking to my mom, and I was like, well, I got to figure out what I can eat. I have to look at what people with Crohn's disease are allowed to eat. And it was like, no red meat, no fruit, no rice, like so much shit that you're not allowed to eat. And I was like, there's no way I'm not eating all this stuff.
Fair, yeah.
And so then I just continued to eat what I wanted, but I just changed my mental attitude and was like, I learned to accept myself, and I no longer was like hating myself. And that's when I got the 7 chakras tattooed. I'm like, I need to not hate myself, I need to love myself, and like had this huge meditative growth,
Explosion.
This like spiritual awakening,
Catharsis.
and then I still like have it, but I don't really anymore. I'm pretty good. Like here and there, I might have a bad day, but I'm good most of the time.
Yeah, as long as you don't piss off the stuff that's already in there.
Yeah.
That's incredible, dude. That's a really transformative way to recover from that.
Yeah.
And I think that
Good tip for anybody.
I agree with you 100% that autoimmune disorders are emotionally based or self-invoked. Self-inflicted. And when I was 19, so 19 was a big year for me. So that was when I learned about breathing. That's when I learned about I studied this woman named Dr. Dorothy Neville, and she actually had a 4-year college bachelor program. She was the owner of the school that taught a 4-year degree in energy therapy. And it closed in the mid 2000s because I don't know why. She transitioned to doing different stuff. She made more money doing other things, teaching seminars. And I got a phone call with her. I was like, hey, I know that you own this school. I know that you do this really cool stuff. I just want to talk with you. Because for a couple hours. Give me some books to read. Give me some things to research. Because I was just into energy healing at that time. And at that point, my current girlfriend had rheumatoid arthritis. and POTS and ankylosing spondylitis. So her spine was basically compressing on itself. She was losing disc cartilage.
Yeah.
Her body was just like shutting down. She had rheumatoid arthritis, which basically means like it's not that your bones are overused. It's just that like your bones are eating themselves essentially. And
It's like an autoimmune disorder kind of.
Yeah. So and then she also had, because of that ankylosing spondylitis, her discs were eating themselves too. So she was losing cartilage and losing bone. And she diagnosed like 15. And my sister was also diagnosed with this at like 16 years old as well. But she was older than me. So I had these two of my like closest female figures in my life, my sister and like my best friend and like the girl I was dating at the time, like had this kind of disease. And I asked her, I was like, hey, what do you know about this disease? I was like, you do energy therapy, like what do you know about this? She's like, and she was like, it has to do with 3 things. There's 3 emotions. She's like, every autoimmune disorder has 3 emotions or more or less associated with it. And rheumatoid arthritis was self-loathing, regret, namely at parents, and anger. Or hurt, anger/hurt.
That's the big 3 that I was dealing with fucking Crohn's disease. Self-loathing.
Self-loathing.
So self-loathing is like
self-hatred,
yourself, like literally self-hatred. And so she basically like those 3 can broadly cover most autoimmune disorders, especially depression, and so I talked to both of them about this, but it's funny enough because both of them actually work in the same clinic right now. One of them is a nurse, one of them is a PA, and my ex, she I think is like a special nurse. I don't know, she's like critical care, she's a higher level nurse than a normal nurse, and they both went into this field, and they both, in my opinion, like the last time I talked to my sister about it, she said that she was controlling it, she was managing it, and that's wonderful, because the thing is, she is okay to manage it. She's functional with that. She's like, I'm managing it. I'm okay. I have doctors. I take my medication. I'm cool with that. It works for me.
I feel like she should try and phrase it more like I'm overcoming it. You know what I mean?
But it's not. It's managing, because if she doesn't take the pill, she's not overcoming it. That's the whole point. That's the mindset we're talking about. Because remember, both of them are in that field that are prescribing those things to people, because they went through that, and so at the same time, I was 14 going through my medical issues. So the 3 of us were all like going through some really tough times with medical, and my sister went for 5 years without getting a diagnosis. She was just in chronic pain, like her wrists were like not moving. She didn't know why. She was like, she was in like freshman year or high school. This was happening to her. And like
that's terrible.
So like all of us were going through this falling decrepitness of us, like eating your bones, eating your cells, and my body just like was all types of contorted physically.
Yes,
and
scoliosis.
Of the 3 of us, I'm the one who doesn't have the problem anymore, because I didn't want a diagnosis. I didn't want these things. I got diagnoses that my spine was out of alignment, that I was having issues, everything was going wrong, and maybe just because I didn't have the same emotions as them. Because the big thing that she mentioned is that it had to do with the self-loathing and the regret and anger towards the father. As a female, the way that you feel towards your father is very important to how you look at yourself, for self-loathing and respect and anger.
That goes back to the
blew my mind.
That goes back to a son's relationship with their mom and a daughter's relationship with their dad.
Yep.
That like opposite relationship is like super important for
balance.
And there was tremendous amount of similarities between those 2.
Yeah.
Like they both were abandoned by their fathers at young ages and had stepfathers. And they both like were angry because their biological father just like was a total jerk.
Yeah, it sucks.
So like there's a lot of similarities between like their stories, and like this woman told this to me, and I was like, oh my god, I gotta tell my sibling, I gotta tell them about this. Like, like I'm generating into this energy field. Like I'm learning about this stuff. Like I need to share this, and they both just completely rejected it because they weren't ready for that, and they probably still aren't. I don't know. I love them both like dearly. Like I don't love my ex as an ex. Like I love her as a person, because I met her before.
I understand what you mean.
Like I care about her. Like, because I spent like one of my research papers in that folder you looked at. I researched rheumatoid arthritis. Like how can hands-on healing help arthritis? How can it help these different things? And so that was a huge portion of my self-healing growth, was learning how to do that, and that's what shifted my whole stuff when I was 19. Like I was gonna go be a doctor. I was gonna go be an osteopath. I wanted to do spinal manipulations, like a chiropractor. I wanted to be in a medical clinic as a doctor, just like they did, a nurse, an PA, I was going to be a doctor.
But then you learned there was another way.
Then I learned.
Yo.
And I was like, whoa. So your emotions, your breath, your food, the way you move, that will help you heal. Not a managing your issue.
Yeah.
Not a pill.
Not a pill. Because you mentioned at the very beginning, you said when people take their emotions and they shove it down, that's what pills do. You have a problem, cover it. Got a problem in 12 hours, cover it. Problem in 8 hours, cover it again.
Yeah.
And then you just have this compounding. I mean, I brought this up a little bit with you about epilepsy. Because my whole philosophy is that, like, whatever you have, the longer you keep taking that medicine, the bigger that shit pile is that you have to then deal with.
And you're right, because I'm building a tolerance to my medicine.
Mm-hmm.
I started off and I was taking like 300 milligrams, and by now I'm taking like 600
You
milligrams.
doubled?
Yeah.
Well, does that like incrementally bring you there at least?
Yeah, it was incremental.
Who
But
gets paid more?
well, that's a good question, because they would have got paid more if they got me to do the thing where there's this open heart surgery.
So there's a whole thing.
Where-
Say less.
Yeah,
Say less,
the
say
pills
less.
were the better option.
Say
They
less.
could have cut me open and
Say
done
less.
some shit.
There's
Yeah.
a whole thing to it, and I
Yeah.
mean,
Why can't they just
No.
use physics and use entanglement and use resonant healing to just like I have the whole big plan
Dude,
for you and how can you
I
do
know.
a whole
I'm still
plan
trying
for
to get my hands on the laser helmet
Dude,
because
that's huge.
yeah, because the thing is, so I've been using the laser on my head a little bit,
Mhm.
but I really used it more on my tongue because I bit my tongue.
Yeah.
But the laser helmet, Judy's supposed to help me get my hands on it, and she said it helps with dementia, and it helps with a lot of other stuff too, like Alzheimer's.
Mhm.
And so there's the thing about epilepsy is that there are so many different kinds of epilepsy.
I mean, what's your diagnosis? Complex? Like,
Yeah,
there-
complex partial epilepsy.
Yeah, that's a BS name. Like, we don't know what it is. It's,
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
complicated. It's a little bit of this, a little bit. I don't know.
it's definitely a good conversation for another podcast.
Yeah, exactly.
Just like cover it, you know.
Yeah.
But that's the foundation right there. There couldn't be no better way to introduce ourselves to that.
This is us, man.
Mhm.
Foundational knowledge.
Wait, the last thing I wanted. Well, I guess there's a couple more things.
So we hit nutrition. We were talked about protein and fats a little bit, and then we talked about breath a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
and now we got to talk about
Motion.
Yeah,
Movement.
yeah.
That's all you want.
Motion and movement. Yeah, that's a good one. I start on that one. Like I
See
said,
how
I'm
I'm
coming out of football and like creating a whole nother meaning in what it means to be fit, strong, and healthy and whatnot. And believe it or not, man, I canceled my gym membership because I was spending so much time in the garden to the point where I would wake up sore consistently. And
Damn.
I'm like, get this, right? I literally have my grandfather's tools that he left behind, and as I'm using them, I'm like, dog, I see why he was so strong.
Because he's
Putting this stuff into the
and
earth, and
fucking-
you're turning, and you're using
Yeah.
both sides of your body because you want to
Yeah,
make it
balance.
easiest.
Yeah.
You know, so when I'm in the garden, I'm bending and moving, doing what I do, carrying things, buckets of soil and water
Yeah.
and sand, and you know,
That's
I mean,
like the most functional
dude,
training.
it has took me to another level. It took my strength to another. It's
Yeah.
giving me that sustained strength. Yeah, I could used to power clean like 300, whatever, squat 400, whatever, but
Yeah.
being able to be mobile and strong. That's
Yes.
something I was missing on.
And do that for like 10 hours straight.
Yeah.
Exactly. And
See,
so
because that's the same deal. Because my brother, he loves working out, but I took his ass to Ultimate Frisbee,
right.
and that's a different kind of training.
Right.
And so that shit kicked his ass.
Right. And what I was gonna get to is like my whole terminology now that I use called movement snacks, where you know I get to work from home for a good bit of my time, so I'll spend 10 minutes outside, like digging a hole that I was trying to dig, or finishing the fire pit,
Mm-hmm.
things like that. Doing things in stages and doing it at rapid motion, though. Like
Mm.
I'm going at it.
100%.
Oh,
I'm
so
going
you're
at
doing
it.
hit cardio stuff?
Oh, dude, I'm
Oh,
digging a
okay.
hole. Boom, boom, bing, boom, boom, bing, boom, boom,
Yeah.
boom, getting the heart up.
Yeah, so you're going hard.
Because I've been all up in the mind. I've been all up into my computer and stuff. But like
Yeah.
when I go outside, and I'm always barefooted outside because
That's
I
good.
realize that connection.
The
is
grounding.
Mm-hmm.
First
Yeah.
spawn.
And so that's my whole opinion on movement, because everybody can do that. We
Yeah.
all have access to. I get
5
it.
minutes a day. Yeah.
You know, we all have access to somewhat, in some type of way, planting a seed, and that's my message as far as like
Yeah.
how you start a garden and how you have a tool that helps you move, because it's like your accountability partner. If you see it not doing what it needs to be doing, maybe you're not touching it enough.
Mm.
And by you not touching enough, well, maybe you're sitting on your behind too much and not paying attention to what you need to. And so
Yeah.
that's where I'm at now, because again, I mean, not even again, but we're gonna get into pickleball and different things that are gonna keep us moving, keep us active. But what's that foundational thing that keeps me, you know, from 27 to 97,
Yep.
that keeps me solid? And it's the agriculture, man.
Mm.
You start with
That's good.
agriculture, the rest take care of itself. That's what civilization is.
Simple
Yeah.
stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like that. You mentioned something about the hope molecule, something like that.
Yeah, the hope molecules is what I was going to talk about. So they're like the most interesting thing that I've learned about, like
Scale it up from
relates to biochemistry.
Yeah, scale it up from going from a simple mindset that I take it then to the hope molecule. I think that would help
Okay.
stair step it.
Yeah, so,
So-
like, why is it good for him? Like, he's working on the
So-
computer all day, he's gonna be like, go to this, why does that help?
So, a lot of people nowadays have anxiety and depression issues, right?
I already get it. That's crazy.
Yeah, that shit is so common nowadays, and it's because we're all stuck inside. We're not doing
Dude,
shit.
no way.
Yeah, it's because we can't move
No
enough.
way. It's
Just
that
like
simple?
And so it's really that simple.
Is it really
it's,
that simple?
It's really that simple.
When you get up
it's
and move,
just
you have to-
moving. It doesn't matter how you move. Dancing, gardening, working out,
Going for a walk.
walking, running. Doesn't
Crab
matter how
walking.
intensely you move.
Consistency.
Just the physical act of flexing your muscles will literally, like, so you have to have the blood go in, and there's something called hope molecules that are excreted in the endocrine
Do
system.
you know what the real name of it is? Or is it literally called the hope molecule?
They're literally called hope
They
molecules.
named it. Okay.
They named them
okay.
hope molecules. Like, you can look it up, and
Damn, that makes me think that the hope molecule, because we talked before, like, the more you work out, the more you have to build.
yeah,
Is the hope molecule a signal that says, hey, brain, go build?
it,
Like, oh, it will get better. 'Cause
it's
right
essentially it's like it comes out. It's a signal that comes from your muscles when they're being used, and they get transported to your brain and then to the rest of your body. But it's
But it
like
has to have an effect, though.
it's
'cause, like,
just antidepressants essentially. It's just like your body is happy that it's being worked out in some way or used in some way, and in order for you to continue to do that in the future, it's going to make you feel good.
Okay.
It's-
There you go.
It's
It's
literally
a
that
reward.
simple.
You literally get
Yeah.
a reward for the toil.
It's like, you know how you feel good when you eat?
Yeah.
It's because you need to eat. So you feel good when
You
you
need
work
to
out
move.
because you need to move.
Right.
yeah.
And it's really that simple.
That's great. That's
Like,
dude. That. Yeah.
And so we have natural antidepressants.
That's insane.
And so people need to stop with the fucking selective
Yo,
serotonin reuptake inhibitors.
I think you can help us understand like how different parts of the body can now be moved more to
Yeah.
unlock like what the blockages are there.
Well, because the thing is, like, the body, like, for example, can you move all 5 of your toes individually?
At one point, I could get my pinky toe to go like this.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Freak.
I could do that with my
Freak.
pinky.
Like, can you sit there and, like, one,
Nah,
two,
nah,
three,
nah.
four,
I don't.
But
I don't
apparently
really
our
know.
toes are
You
just
have
supposed
the
to be
muscle to do that.
Yeah.
You don't.
We got 25% of the bones in
I
our
might
feet
be able
and
to
our
with my bare
musculature.
feet.
Yeah, I'm learning that our musculature from the Achilles tendon, our musculature in the feet are so intricate.
Dude, there's
Yeah.
4 layers of muscles in the
Mhm.
feet. I mean, think about that. 4 layers of muscles.
Dude, I spent a lot of time on
So
the
your-
feet.
your
with the
opinion-
lasers.
Your opinion on movement? And
Yeah, so
overall.
movement, like, so to your degree, you feel great when you move. Doesn't
Mhm.
matter what you're doing, but you also have to keep it on both sides.
Mhm.
You're saying you move and you get hope molecule, you are happy, you feel better. And my thing is, you need to also move the right way. Because you're saying, like, there's no wrong way to move. I believe that the
Well,
only
I
wrong...
don't know.
Well, yeah. I'm not trying to, like, come at you. I'm just saying that,
Probably I've moved the wrong way a couple
Yes,
times
fair.
myself.
but there needs to be for every action there's a counter action.
Yeah.
And
There's
And-
an
and-
equal and opposite.
Right, but that is entirely dependent upon the individual's goal. Bodybuilders, like Sam, for example, who want to have sheer absolute strength to be able to push the most amount of weight up, are not going to be good at running half a mile, or even running a marathon, rather half a marathon. They're not going to do that. You've put so much muscle into absolute strength that you have literally, like, call it genetically modified yourself to be good at that thing. People that play tennis
caused epigenetics on yourself.
Essentially, yeah, you're expressing your genes differently. And you're going to say, I'm going to make more of this, I'm going to do more of this. But your muscles, like, you need them to move left and move right. Because yours couldn't move all the way out at one point. So you needed to basically realize that you could do that by moving it, by using different musculature to do that. And to the point of, you know, the depression, the people are just not feeling the best optimized, is really just a postural deformity where their fascia, their neural networks are so disconnected from each other. Yeah.
Wow.
Because, like, you know, I mean, we've been sitting for like an hour. Like, my hips are like, you know, the amount of blood flow just being squished by my butt down.
Yeah.
Like,
you know how you can explain that really well? So, like, the body, the mind cannot tell the difference between a fake smile and a real smile.
Mm-hmm.
So if you force yourself to smile, even if it feels fake as fuck, you will actually become happier. Your mind will
sound happy.
Chemically,
you will express chemicals.
Same thing with thoughts, affirmations. That's like the whole point.
And that's how posture is.
Yes.
So if you're on a computer all day and you have dog shit posture,
your brain will start to think with dog shit posture.
Exactly. So your mind will have dog shit posture, and if your mind has dog shit posture, then you're gonna feel like dog shit.
Continued. Yep.
And so,
well, and that's the beauty of, like, when people come in here, like, you know, and that's what I want to transition out of. I've been so bogged down in working one-on-one with patients.
Yeah.
To be like, hey, you know, here are, you know, we look at all the things. Okay, which of your body parts are out? You know, this hurts, this hurts, this hurts. How can I connect it? Because remember, muscles are connected to things. Because you have stem cells that are delivered to you, because stem cells are made in the bones, and the bones have to deliver the stem cell to the place that needs stem cells. So there's a delivery system, and sometimes it's used in the blood, and a lot of times it's not used in the blood. Mm-hmm. They use their own lines called the meridian systems, or the premovascular system, which science learned about 7 years ago, acupuncture knew about thousands of years ago.
That's so interesting.
Yeah, we knew about this stuff. We were smart. We were smart. Yeah. And it was always explained as, oh, it's this ethereal chi or ki or energy. It's just DNA, it's DNA promoters, and it's stem cells. So that way, the DNA and the promoters...
It's before proliferated stem cells.
Yes, but the DNA and the... What was the DNA? The DNA promoters, they literally contain the DNA to make the proteins to then use the cell to differentiate the cell the right way. So all of your major organs and your major systems have a line delivered, like almost like a train system to deliver.
And it makes sense cells. Because the differentiation has to happen depending on the localization of the cell.
However, those lines are, I believe, are part of the fascial network system. Because as far as we know, it took us a long time to find them, and they're very small. They're like 5 to 10 nanometers in circumference, which is super small.
Damn.
Or no, sorry, not nanometers, micrometers.
So I was about to say nanometers, like shit.
I think, pretty sure it's like, you know, 5 to times 10 to the negative 6 of meters.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's micrometers.
Yeah, it's micrometers. And that goes from your feet, goes from the bones in your feet, because you've got like 30 bones in your feet. The stem cells have to go somewhere. Mm-hmm. And so but what happens is, like, right here, I've cut off this system. I'm sitting on this system. It's blocked. And so this, when you sit a lot, is bladder. And the other big issue that people have is gallbladder. So gallbladder runs from the fourth toe up. Actually,
do you have that somewhere up here?
It's at home. I took it home to laminate it.
Okay.
It goes up the whole side of the leg, up the body, around, goes up to the shoulder, up to the head, loops around, and ends in the ear.
Holy crap! Bro.
From the toe, and this is the gallbladder. Right?
Yeah.
Why does the gallbladder need that much energy, right? But you wouldn't believe how many people have gallbladder issues. They have non-functional ones. They have ones that need to get replaced, and gallbladder is is a wood element, so it means like it's a natural element. So the way to help with it is to go literally walking in nature. Go barefoot yourself in nature. Go be ground, and because it's wood element, like that's how acupuncture and holistic medicine looks at it. Is like you have a gallbladder issue. Okay, go in the forest for a week. Don't come out.
Or just
and
like
feel
go
better.
walk on your field park. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Near like Forsyth Park type beat. Like,
But modern people have just decided to make it like, buy supplements. This thing will
Yeah.
specifically support the
it's
gallbladder.
because
Like,
of
no.
over capitalism.
Yeah,
It's like
Right.
Yeah, it's like I
Yeah.
don't need support gallbladder. I need to like literally support gallbladder, awareness wise, chemically wise, thought wise, posture wise. Because there's a whole line. Because remember, your body is trying to send stem cells to it, and it's somewhere along that line it's not sending. That's generally why it fails, because you're not getting the replacement. So anytime you have an injury, it's like your Achilles was probably just so
Anything
overworked.
chronic.
Anything.
Dude,
Anything
got
chronic.
work to do.
It's just simple. It's working really hard, like liver damage. Why do alcoholics have liver issues? Why do smokers have lung issues? Because they burn their stuff. They make it work. So you make your cells, your arms work. So you
Yeah.
have the more likely than not, you would get muscular cancer. That doesn't really happen though, because
Yeah.
muscles aren't smart enough to do that. Literally, muscles don't have the
and
like,
they're meant
the
to
mechanism to do that.
replicate more than all the other ones
Right.
anyway.
Work.
Yeah,
Work.
they're just
Yeah.
work.
Yeah.
Literally,
Yeah.
and they're recording. They go boop, 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 boop. That's all they do. That's
Yeah.
all day long.
The
I think this is a
sarcomere.
good. I think it's a good point to wrap it up because
Yeah.
like we've talked
Yeah,
talked
all of
around a lot of what we're talking about, but it's the core that radiates into what we're talking around.
Yeah.
Why it matters that you have the core, you know. The
So why don't you wrap up the core
Yeah.
for
Mhm.
us?
Hmm?
Do you want to wrap up the core?
Oh, I was just talking about the
message?
core messages are just like.
Eat, breathe, move.
Eat, breathe, move.
All the good quality as well, you know. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
Food, it has to be good quality. Hair's gotta be good quality. Movement's gotta be good quality. Because if you're only punching, you're not gonna be able to ever go back. Because
Yeah.
and it's like a lobster. You can
Dude.
just clamp them. You need to have movement.
Yeah. It's like we've had multiple patients where they just bench press their entire lives, and then because they do it so much, their pecs are over tightened, and so it like pulls their shoulders forwards. Yeah, it pulls their traps forwards. It pulls it like overstretches their whole back, and they're in chronic pain. And so it's like, it's all about balance also. Like if you're gonna move the pecs, you gotta move your back also.
You have to.
Yeah.
Simple as that. And if you're gonna eat crap food, eat a lot of good food. And because muscles are generally a 1-to-1 ratio. If you do 100 push-ups, you should do 100 like dips or whatever the anti-push-up is, whatever it is.
Like
But if you
pull-ups.
eat like a Twinkie, you need to eat like 3 days of good food to get rid of that crap. You know what I mean? Like it's food. It's way more important to really go opposite. Because for example, people that go on diets, they fall back into it so easily.
Yeah.
You need to do like a 30-day cleanse to really have a true impact. The 7-day juice cleanses are just a joke. You need to really like stick to it. So
Yeah.
eat, breathe, and move the right way. The 3.
And you'll be good. You'll be all right.
That's all you need.
Stay tuned. We got a lot coming on health,
Lots to
wellness,
come.
nutrition, spirituality, the world. Who knows?
So yeah,
We talk about a lot of things, business even.
personal
Definitely.
relations.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do it. I love it, guys.
Yep. All right, y'all. Thank
Mind, body, spirit.
you. Boom.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Nice.
That was chill.